Hi everyone. I'm going to do a really unusual video today, which is living with anxiety, which is in the title that you've just checked out. And if you know my channel, then you know that this is going to be completely breaking the norm of what I do on my YouTube channel, because most of the time it just involves historical road trips and it involves musical projects that I'm involved in, and this is just going to completely be different. But it's only because it's something very personal to me, because I've had it for such a long time. And if you're one of my friends who's watching this, then just wanted to say, like, you know, it may be quite painful for some of you to hear, so you may want to sort of switch off now. It's a warning. And I may talk about graphic things as well that happen when you get anxiety. So again, if you feel uncomfortable at any point, it's YouTube. Just turn it off, switch it off, whatever. But what I want to try and make this out to be is a positive experience for a lot of you. Because I didn't put in a title coping with or dealing with, because I find that quite not offensive, but I find it almost like misleading in a weird way, and for the sheer fact that none of us want to have anxiety, and the fact that it does affect us on a daily basis. You know, I don't think really there's one day that goes by where I don't have some form of anxiety. And I'm 30 years old now, and I've had it since I was 10. But back when I was 10 years old, it wasn't really anxiety at the time. It was more a form of stress. You know, I'd get really sort of like freaked out as a kid. You know, I just couldn't deal with stress as a kid. You know, no kid should really have to deal with stress or have stress, but for some strange reason, I just kind of had it. And then later on in life, it manifested into total anxiety. So on top of that, background wise, because I don't want to sort of come across as a preacher or a charlatan or somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about, because I like to think that I've had it for 20 years now, that I feel I'm pretty much qualified enough that I can talk about it, that it has made my life a living hell, if I'm being brutal about it. It's affected everything that I've done, everything. And I think the worst thing that it's affected is relationships for me, because they don't. If you don't suffer from anxiety, then I know a lot of people find it very difficult to understand or relate to. And so I'm hoping that this video, more than ever, could actually just try and highlight to people who don't have anxiety what people who do have anxiety go through, if that makes sense. So the one thing that happens when you get anxiety is that no matter what form of anxiety, is that it makes you feel really depressed. You know, and depression is really the side effect of what you get when you have anxiety. And it drains you mentally. You know, it's a very draining experience. You know, you can tell I'm trying to word this really carefully. And it really does drain you. You know, and it hurts when you see family members or friends or people like that who just don't understand it, and they see you. You know, worst case scenario for me, I was curled up in a ball once. I just wanted to just feel like the world was caving in on me. You know, when you sort of feel like it's like the end of the end. You know, can't see a light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. So my forms of anxiety, I've had different forms of anxiety. I've had different forms of anxiety ranging from chest pains, feeling like my heart's going to come out my chest, to breathing problems, almost, borderline panic attacks. Muscle spasms, where like my neck's literally frozen up, more stress related thing, but still anxiety. Feeling sick a lot of the time, going to the toilet a lot, everything. I can't really think of anything that my body hasn't had that hasn't been dealt with anxiety. In fact, my recent form of anxiety was a really weird thing of swallowing a lot. And I wasn't ill. And my throat checked. I'm not a hypochondriac, by the way, either. Just want to put that out there. And yeah, and like this really weird swallowing fit that I kept having. I've also had panic attacks, which are the most extreme form of anxiety, really. They're the ones that you don't want to have regularly, because they are crippling, actually. And they were for me, and they were crippling for me in my teenage years, and I think that was probably the worst time to have them, really, in your teenage years, because it's the time when you should be having fun and enjoying yourself. And I was in a professional band at the time, and it was literally crippling, So, the purpose of this video, that was a long intro. The purpose of this video is basically to try and sort of say to people out there, you are not alone. You're not. You are one person out there watching this, and you are not alone. There's so many people out there who have this. It's untrue, and a lot of people don't talk about it, And I think that was my biggest revelation when I was growing up, because I think I was that generation in the sort of early 2000s where, it was starting to be more talked about. When you're teenagers, it was starting to be more sort of spoken of. But I know generations previously would never talk about anything like that. Sign of weakness, and it was sort of like, I'm fine, whatever. I don't have anxiety. What are you talking about? But whilst they're like holding their chest, because it's like feeling like it's going to cave in, or potentially going to throw up. It's not good, right? So, by having anxiety, for me, like I said, it's been very sort of damaging for my social circle, for everything that I do, mundane day-to-day life. And my safe place is in my bedroom, which, funny enough, I'm talking to you from right now. I don't have anxiety right now, by the way. Just want to put that out there, because that'd be a really awkward video to watch. You'd probably see me, if I did have it, actually, my symptoms are that the way I used to cure it, because funny enough, I want to talk about this later, the way that I used to cure it was I used to pace up and down the floor, basically trying to exercise as much as possible, and then knacking myself out to the point of my body just couldn't, even if it wanted to, it just couldn't do anything. It was like, you're too tired, just give up. Yeah, that was how it used to work, and I used to fall asleep. And then going through that, it made it really, like I said, I've used this word a few times now, but it was crippling. It affected my friends and everything else, and more so, like I said before, it affected my relationships. So if I had a girlfriend that I couldn't stay around their house, I couldn't stay around there, for the reason that I was so afraid that if I had a panic attack or if I had anxiety, that they'd see me. And I'd be, one moment I'd be trying to relax, and the next minute I'd be freaking out, going, like, I've got anxiety, and it's not really, and to be honest, when you get really bad anxiety, it's not a very pleasant experience to sort of be around. If you're a friend or you're in a relationship, it's really upsetting. And a lot of my exes felt that it was their fault, and it wasn't. And I kept sort of saying to them, it's not your fault, it's mine. It's my thing. It's something to do with you. Why I've got anxiety. I just feel really uncomfortable about exposing myself. and it was the same thing with my friends and my family. You know, if I was going to have one, I'd run away. Like, you're not seeing me having this. Can't, you know. Wasn't it was embarrassing. It was just kind of like, you know, it was bad enough me going through it. Worse when they had to see me go through it, you know. So you've got this thing and you're kind of like thinking, oh man, you know, this is really bad. And then you sort of see like your mum or your dad or boyfriend or girlfriend or anyone just look at you and you're like, oh my god, like, what is wrong with him? You know, what's he doing? You know, why is he shaking like that? Why is he holding his stomach? Why is he held up into a ball? Why is he doing all that? You know, it's because he has anxiety. Yeah. So if I can try and get at least one person from this video to hopefully at least feel like they're not alone, and that it's okay to have anxiety, because if you have it, you have it, you know, and that after 20 years I'm starting to find ways of trying to move on from it, you know, because I still get it, and I'm not here to give you a cure. I'm sorry about that if you think that I'm here to sort of give you the ultimate cure on anxiety. I don't think I can do that, even though I've had it for such a long time, because then I wouldn't have it, you know. Be here saying I'm cured, you know, got saved and still this, but I still have it. But something that I'm doing at the moment, which is helping a lot actually, and it may help you, I don't know, it may not, I don't know, you know. I'm starting to break down the perception of my anxiety. I perceive anxiety, I'm going to use this word perception a lot now in this short video that it is. I'm going to use the word perception. We all perceive anxiety as being a negative thing, and our perception of it is that, you know, it's damaging and it's crippling, because it is. It's not even a perception, it's just true. With other people to look on into it, some people may think, well, you know, I've had it before. It's like, you know, well, get a grip of yourself. You know, sort yourself out. What are you moaning about? You know, come on, suck it up, be a man. You know, whatever. It's just like, it don't work like that. You know, it's mental. It's something that happens in your brain. You know, your brain's basically sort of saying, no, you know what, like, well, it's not that easy. You know, you can't just switch anxiety off like that. I've been to so many counsellors and I've been to so much therapy. And really all that does actually for me personally is it acts like a buffer. It stops that momentary process of anxiety for a short period of time. Just enough that it sees me through that awkward phase in my life. But for me it will always come back, you know. But like I said, recently I've started to change and change my perception of anxiety. Yeah, so by doing that, the thing that's helped me the most is going to those uncomfortable places. Yeah, like going to those, doing those things that you don't like doing. So for me, what I think I explained before is that I couldn't stay around someone's house. Couldn't stay around my, you know, if I had a girlfriend, I couldn't stay around her house. You know what I mean? And even actually if she stayed around mine, I'd still be freaked out. You know, because like, oh god, if she sees me with anxiety, what am I going to do? So what I started to do recently was slowly just take things that I find uncomfortable and slowly change them. No matter how uncomfortable they are, just trying to get over it a little bit more, you know. But doing it in my own time and doing it in a way that I feel comfortable. So recently, I've played a few festivals musically, and I know this sounds quite ironic because obviously by being a musician, you know, me interacting with people and everything else. Well, to be honest, it freaks me out. It does freak me out, you know. And late nights, you know, again, being a musician, it's part and parcel of what you do. But, you know, I used to, as soon as I finished playing, I'd run home. You know, get in the car and I'd just drive, you know. But recently I've started to change that habit. So, going back to what I was saying, so we played a couple of festivals recently, and I decided that I was going to camp out. You know, I haven't done that in years and years and years and years. And the first time I did it, I felt really, like, uncomfortable about it, because you would, you know what I mean, like, you know, it's kind of like, it's given, you know. And then I changed, you know, and I sort of did that, and I kind of thought, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to stay over for a night, you know, see what happens. So it was uncomfortable at first, but then it got better. So as the night dragged on, got to about 1 o'clock at night, I was still up, couldn't really sleep, still a bit irritable. And again, bearing in mind the adrenaline from the gig that I played was slowly kicking down anyway, so you're still going to be a bit bouncy. Got to about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. And for the first time in my life, I managed to get about 4 hours sleep. Now I know that that's, for some of you out there, that's like, whoa, you know, like, what? That's nothing, 4 hours. For me it was an achievement, because if I was to do that previously, I would have got no hours sleep. I just would have been up, you know. I can sleep normally in my bed. My bed's fine, I can sleep normally in it. It's my safety zone. But to go out, you know, or to have anybody in my bed, it just freaks out, yeah. So for me, I managed about a few weeks back about 3-4 hours sleep, which was a result. And recently, we did another festival, and I managed to get about 6 hours sleep, which was great. And slowly but surely, it's trying to break that circle. It's not keeping a buffer onto it, it's not halting it, it's breaking it. Breaking that circle that we have when we have anxiety. Because we do the same things, you see. When I have anxiety, you know, it's because my routine, or the way that I have anxiety, is almost the same. It's almost a routine. It's almost like, you know, I know I'm going to probably get anxiety here, and I preempt it. I preempt the fact of doing that. And I actually am that bad with my anxiety that if I go out somewhere, I have to be really careful, like, where I go. Especially when I go out to eat, or especially when I just go out for the day, I have to be really careful where I go, you know, because again, I'm paranoid that I'm going to get anxiety or a panic attack at worst. And now, if any of you have had panic attacks, my heart goes out to you, because I've had them, and they, for me, are like crippling, proper crippling, like, you know, damaging beyond words, yeah. We won't talk about that. I want to talk sort of positively. So, by me breaking my cycle, going back to what I was talking about, so me breaking my cycle a little bit, it slowly started to help. And you know, I'd like to think that that may help you guys out there, but more importantly, that's the bigger message that I wanted to put out there, was you're not alone, yeah. And if anybody watching this who doesn't have anxiety watches it, hopefully they may be a bit more understanding of what people like me go through on a day-to-day basis, because it is a day-to-day basis. It's not kind of like a, you know, a week off, week on type thing. Because the other problem that I have, and I don't really even like using the word problem, I don't like using that, but I'm also bipolar. So I go through peaks of happiness and sadness, happiness, sadness, happiness, sadness. So you combine that on top of anxiety, combine that on top of depression and stress. It's like the worst combination you could ever probably have, you know. And it depresses me even saying that I've had it for 20 years, you know. But again, it's that vicious circle. And funny enough, you get in a very uncomfortable way, you get used to it actually. So there may be people out here who are watching this who've probably had it for even longer than I've had it. You know, like really bad. I'm not talking like, you know, a mild form of it where it dissipates and then comes back. I mean, like, I'm talking like what I have, which is constant. But I'm trying at the moment to understand it more for myself. Because it's all well and good when you go to a counsellor and a therapist and they say, well, you know, you should do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's great. It's easy for them to say that. I'm sure that they've probably been through the same experiences that I have, and that's great. You know, and and even for me to do this now, like, I'm sure it's easy for me to say all this to you. You know what I mean? And to sort of say, oh yeah, well, you know, I've had it and I've done this and da da da. But it isn't easy, you know. And again, hence why I put living with anxiety, not coping or putting up with, because we don't want it. I don't want it. You know, I don't want anxiety. You know, who does? You know. You know, and it means that I can't, you know, I can't have like a relationship or anything, you know, at the moment, and it really hurts, you know. I'm just lucky that I've got really cool friends and that really cool family who understand. I'm really grateful for that. And if you can try and surround yourself with those types of people, that's great. And if you do, one day, I'm sure that I'll find someone who will understand it better and that I can feel comfortable about being around with it. That's no disrespect to any of my exes if you're watching. But yeah, so if you're out there like me and you have this, it's fine, because I'm going to get through it, you know, I'm going to get through this. You know, it's taken me 20 years, but I'm going to get through it and I'm going to change. I'm doing it slowly, bit by bit. And maybe in time I'll find someone who, you know, like maybe I would find someone who I may be cured by then. Cured. Again, I don't even like using that word, cured. It sounds very preacher-like, like you're cured. You know, it's not like that. So to end on, I hope I get some positive feedback from this. But I just wanted to say that so far, I've done it for 2 months now. Just breaking those little bits of habit have worked out really well for me. It's something you should do normally anyway when you have anxiety. You know, if you find that you're in a vicious circle, just try and keep breaking little bits off. Tiny bits. And then it'll work out, fingers crossed, you know. And then, you know, be better off for doing it. So, thank you so much for watching. And I'm so sorry that it's not me doing a road trip or pretending that I'm a rock star. So sorry about that. I'm so sorry if I've depressed any of you, because I didn't really want to do that either. You know, just living with anxiety. And I'm hoping that some of you out there who don't suffer from it, but know people who do, are just a little bit more, you know, kind of, okay, yeah, that's cool. I respect him when he says, like, you know, I'll leave him alone. I respect him when he says, you know, he wants his own space, or she wants her own space. I respect that. And just try and be there for that person, yeah? Because sometimes they'll go down a really dark alley, emotionally. And even though we say, or that I say to my friends, for example, I don't want them there, as long as I know that I'm not necessarily saying to them to go away, I just want to know that they are there just in case I do call on them, yeah? So thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for understanding and being patient. And I will do more positive videos coming up soon. I'm going to do some more historical videos at some point soon. So yeah, look after yourselves, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Take care now. Bye.